Remember when Ford discontinued the Ranger in 2011 and said that Americans weren't interested in small pickup trucks? The world's changed. The F-150 is the best-selling vehicle in America right now. So Ford thinks it's time to introduce a second smaller pickup, the 2022 Maverick, that will join the Ranger as one of two vehicles below the F-150. And they're assuming that buyers of this small truck aren't looking for the full-size truck capability to tow and haul. And instead of bragging about those numbers, they're touting fuel economy of up to 40 mpg and a price of $20,000. Of course, by the time you add in destination, it's actually $21,490. Ford's not the only automaker that thinks there's an untapped segment here. Hyundai just showed its Santa Cruz recently, and while that vehicle stylistically looks very different, conceptually, they're very similar. Like the Santa Cruz, the Maverick comes in one configuration. It's a 4-door crew cab with a 4.5-foot long bed. It's built much more like a modern crossover than a traditional pickup truck. That means unibody construction rather than body-on-frame construction. One of the giveaways here is the fact that there's no cut line between the cab and the bed. It also has an independent rear suspension, where most pickup trucks have a solid live axle. The independent suspension should help the Maverick ride better on rough roads, especially when the bed's empty. You might be wondering, just how big is the Maverick? Or rather, how small is it? It's about 2.5 feet shorter than a comparable F-150, about a foot shorter than a Ranger, and about the same length as a Ford Explorer. Let's talk about that big fuel economy number. 40 miles per gallon is Ford's preliminary estimate for the EPA city rating of the base engine. It's a hybrid. It uses a transmission similar to what's in the Toyota Prius to combine a 2.5-liter inline-4 with an electric motor for 191 horsepower. Ford's also saying it should get about 37 miles per gallon combined by the EPA cycle. Those numbers aren't just great for a truck, they're good for hybrids in general, beating several hybrid crossovers. Of course, there's one catch. The base powertrain is only available with front-wheel drive. If you want all-wheel drive, Ford has you covered. You're just going to have to spend some extra money to step up to the optional engine. That's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that makes 250 horsepower. No word on fuel economy or pricing for that engine just yet. Now let's talk about the bed. This is the main attraction, the reason you buy a truck, right? Ford's calling it a flex bed. They've built in a lot of cool cargo solutions here. But one of the coolest things, I think, is the fact that I can stand here anywhere on the side of the truck, reach in, and grab what's ever in the bed. You can't do that with a full-size pickup these days. Ford would be happy to sell you accessories to outfit the bed, but one of the coolest things they've done is, recognizing the low price point, provided solutions that will allow buyers to DIY their own cargo setups. That includes these pockets molded into the bedside where you can drop a 2x4 or a 2x6 to create a second tier above the floor. There's also these vertical pockets, so you could do a cargo divider or have a DIY bicycle fork mount up near the cab. There's also this nice little storage cubby here with a removable shelf, good for storing tie downs, bungee cords, or a drawbar for towing. One of the cooler options that I've never heard of before, Ford has pre-wired this truck for your 12-volt accessories. No more tapping into the taillight and messing up Ford's meticulously engineered wiring. These covers will hide wires that are on their own 20-amp fused circuit, 12 volts of course. So if you wanted to do lighting or air compressors and have them wired into your truck, that's an option. The weekend warriors can throw up to 1,500 pounds of gravel, mulch, whatever they can think of into the bed. And if you're towing, the base capacity is 2,000 pounds, which is good enough for a pair of jet skis or a pop-up camper. If you want to tow something heavier, there's an optional package only for the upgrade 2-liter turbocharged engine that raises the rating to 4,000 pounds. That package includes an upgraded cooling system for the engine, a shorter final drive ratio for the transmission, and an integrated brake controller. Interestingly, the Hyundai Santa Cruz can tow more, with a base rating of 3,500 pounds and an upgrade to 5,000 pounds. Who would have thought we'd ever see the day where a Hyundai truck tows more than a Ford? Of course, Ford's response is going to be, if you want to tow more, we're happy to sell you a Ranger or an F-150. This is a vehicle that's been designed to a price point. Remember, Ford wants to be able to brag about a starting price below $20,000. Usually that shows up in the interior. You get inside, it looks a little cheap, maybe the fit and finish isn't that great, but Ford designers have done a great job masking that with some really great material selections, and more specifically, some of the colors and texturings they've done here. There's kind of a faux stone-like finish to some of the trim, a more technical graining on some of the plastics, and just generally the sense here that there's some real style going on. Well, the versions we're looking at are higher trim levels with nicer finishes. The 8-inch touchscreen is standard across the line, and it includes Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. Ford designed the Maverick with very traditional truck-like looks. That masks the fact that it's actually a very novel idea. The Maverick combines the utility of a pickup bed with the maneuverability of a mid-size crossover and the fuel economy of a small car. It's designed for truck buyers who are more concerned with moving mountain bikes or jet skis rather than a pile of steel girders or heavy construction equipment. Basically, it's designed for the way many Ranger and F-150 owners currently use their trucks. However, Ford also thinks there's an untapped market here for small car owners based on the fuel economy and price point of this truck.